Have you ever felt a current pulling you in one direction while your soul yearned to swim against it? If this message has found you, it is not by chance. It is a divine appointment, a sign that your spirit is ready to break free from chains you may not even realize you are wearing. You are on the verge of a profound awakening, and the key to your liberation lies in understanding a truth so powerful, so fiercely guarded, that it threatens the very foundations of our world. Prepare to see yourself and the reality you inhabit with brand new eyes. If what you hear next resonates with the deepest part of your being, know that you are not alone. Let your soul speak in the comments by typing "I resonate" and join a tribe of awakened individuals by liking and subscribing to this channel, your spiritual sanctuary. The individual has always had to struggle to keep from being overwhelmed by the tribe. These are not merely words from a long-dead philosopher. They are a sacred echo, a timeless truth that vibrates at the very core of the human experience. Listen closely, for this is the frequency of your own soul's journey. Now, picture this. A man, perhaps 35 years of age, steps into the warm, amber light of a family gathering. He carries with him an aura of quiet confidence, an unshakable centeredness. His career is not just successful, it is a testament to his passion and dedication. His friendships are deep and meaningful, built on a foundation of mutual respect and genuine connection. His bank account is not just healthy, it is a reflection of his ability to manifest abundance in the material world. He has, by all external measures, meticulously crafted a life of substance and integrity. He is a pillar of strength, a man who has his life together. Yet, as he moves through the room, a subtle shift occurs in the collective energy field. An unspoken question hangs in the air, a low-frequency hum of judgment and expectation. It comes from the concerned glances of aunts, the probing questions of uncles, the whispered conversations between cousins. They see a puzzle with a missing piece, a magnificent painting that is somehow, in their eyes, tragically incomplete. And finally, the question is spoken aloud, laced with a blend of feigned concern and societal pressure. When are you getting married? Here is where the fabric of reality begins to tear. Here is where the divine spark of the sovereign individual clashes with the dense programming of the collective consciousness. He does not become defensive. There is no flicker of anger or insecurity in his eyes. He does not offer a list of excuses. He does not justify his path. He does not seek their approval. He holds his ground, anchored in his own truth, and with a calm that is both disarming and profoundly unsettling to those around him, he simply says, "I don't need to." In that moment, with those 4 simple words, he becomes a mirror, and what the people around him see reflected back is not him, but their own chains, their own compromises, their own unquestioned beliefs. That response, so pure in its authenticity, sends ripples of discomfort through the room. It is a psychic shockwave that rattles the cages of their own quiet desperation. Why? Why does a man who is whole, complete, and sovereign within himself, a man who does not need the institution of marriage to validate his existence, represent such a terrifying threat to the established order? Why does his freedom feel like an accusation? The truth is, his very existence is a powerful declaration that everything you have been told, everything you have been programmed to believe about what makes a man whole, what defines a man's worth, what constitutes a complete life, might be the greatest lie ever sold. Think about it. From the moment you were a child, your consciousness was being shaped, molded, and imprinted with a very specific set of energetic blueprints. The narrative was simple, relentless, and delivered through 1,000 subtle channels. You were programmed with a message. Real men get married. Real men settle down. Real men find a wife and provide. It was etched onto the blackboards of your schools, whispered in the pews of your churches, and broadcast through every screen you ever watched. It was the unquestioned foundation of fairy tales and the celebrated climax of every romantic story. You were handed a script, a pre-written destiny, and told that this was the only path to happiness, the only route to becoming a real man. But what if that programming was never about your happiness? What if it was never about your soul's authentic expression? What if, in reality, It was a sophisticated system designed for one purpose, and one purpose only: to keep you predictable, to keep you controllable, to ensure that you would willingly walk into a cage, believing it was a castle. The truth, the raw and unfiltered truth, is that a married man, within the confines of this societal script, is a controlled man. Understand this on an energetic level. He is bound by responsibilities that extend far beyond the sacred commitment between two souls. He is tethered by bills, mortgages, and the relentless pressure to provide for a family. He is a cog in the economic machine, a dependable consumer, a predictable worker. His ability to take risks is diminished. He cannot simply quit his job and travel the world on a soul calling. He cannot pivot his entire life on a whim, following the guidance of his intuition. He must stay in line. He must conform to the expectations placed upon him, because the well-being of others now depends on his compliance. He has willingly traded a degree of his sovereignty for a sense of security and social acceptance. But the unmarried man, the one who has looked deep within and found that he is already whole, the one who truly does not need marriage to feel complete, he is dangerous. He is a glitch in the matrix. He is not dangerous because he despises women or devalues relationships. Quite the opposite. He is dangerous because he is free. And that freedom, that high-frequency vibration of authentic self-possession, is contagious. When other men who have followed the script without question, see him, they don't just see a single friend. They see a reflection of a path not taken. They witness a man thriving, not just surviving, without the very thing they were told was essential for their own completion. And a seed of doubt, a dangerous and divine question, begins to sprout in the fertile ground of their own souls. Do I really need this? Am I married because I truly want to be, because it is an authentic expression of my soul's desire, or am I married because I was told I should be? This is the question that can unravel the entire system. This is the spark that can ignite a revolution of consciousness, one man at a time. This is the power that society fears most, the power of a man awakening to his own inner truth and questioning the reality that has been constructed for him. The great philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche, a master of decoding the hidden scripts of society, spoke of a being he called the Overman, or the Übermensch. This is not a man of brute strength, but a man of profound spiritual power. He is the one who has transcended the herd morality, the one who has stopped seeking approval from others to feel valuable. He has turned inward and discovered the inexhaustible wellspring of his own worth. He creates his own rules, he defines his own values, he lives by his own sacred code. He is a law unto himself, guided by the sovereign authority of his own soul. This is the man who has broken free from the tribe. And then there is the profound wisdom of the psychologist Carl Jung, who mapped the inner landscape of the human psyche. Jung discovered that when a man truly knows himself, when he undertakes the sacred journey of what he called individuation, he becomes complete on his own. This journey requires him to face all aspects of his being, including his dark side, his shadow. He must embrace the parts of himself that society has taught him to repress and deny. And in doing so, he integrates these fragmented pieces into a coherent, powerful whole. He no longer needs someone else to fill a void within him, because he has realized there is no void. He is already complete. This man, this sovereign individual, isn't anti-marriage, he is pro-choice. But not the superficial false choice that society presents you with, marry or be a failure. No, he embodies a far more powerful and authentic choice. It is the genuine choice between I choose to marry because I want to share my already complete life with another whole individual, and I choose to remain single because I am already complete. Do you feel the shift in that frequency? One is a choice made from neediness and lack. The other is a choice made from wholeness and abundance. And it is this choice, this radical act of self-possession, that terrifies a world built on your neediness. It terrifies a system that profits from your belief that you are broken, that you are not enough, that you need something outside of yourself to be saved. Let me reveal a secret that will make the very foundations of your reality tremble. Here is something that might ignite a righteous fire within your soul. Your feeling of incompleteness, that nagging sense that you are somehow broken or lacking, is not natural. It has been manufactured. It has been meticulously engineered and sold to you from the moment you took your first breath. You have been programmed, on a subconscious level, to believe you are not whole. Think back, all the way to your childhood. What was the underlying message you heard over and over again, woven into the very fabric of your upbringing? You need to find your other half. You're not complete without someone. A real man settles down and provides. This idea was hammered into your consciousness, forged in the fires of societal expectation, and polished with the promise of love and acceptance. But what if I told you that this is exactly what they want you to believe? What if this entire narrative of incompleteness is the cornerstone of a system designed to control you? Nietzsche identified this phenomenon with chilling accuracy. He called it slave morality. It is a belief system that originates from the weak and the powerless, and it elevates qualities like pity, humility, and dependency. It is the insidious idea that you are inherently deficient and that your worth must be validated externally through your service to others, through your adherence to the rules of the tribe. It is a morality that keeps you small, that keeps you seeking, that keeps you in a perpetual state of need. And from this manufactured need, a multi-billion-dollar industry has been born. It's genius, in a truly diabolical way. If you believe you are incomplete, you will spend your entire life desperately trying to fill that phantom void. You will buy things you don't need, chase achievements that don't fulfill you, and enter into relationships based on scarcity rather than abundance. And guess what? A man desperately seeking completion is a man who can be controlled. A man who believes his worth is contingent on his ability to provide is a man who will work a job he hates for 40 years without question. A man who believes he needs a woman to be whole is a man who will cede his power and his freedom for a fleeting sense of validation. This is not some abstract theory. Look around you. The global wedding industry alone is worth over $300 billion. $300 billion profiting from the idea that your life's ultimate achievement is a single day of performative commitment. But it goes so much deeper than that. Real estate companies target couples because they spend more on homes. Insurance companies create family plans because married men, burdened with responsibility, buy more coverage. The entire consumer economy is built around the idea that your primary function as a man is to prove your worth by providing for someone else. Dating apps, jewelry companies, the fashion industry, the entertainment industry, they all thrive on this carefully cultivated insecurity. They build the fear, and then they sell you the cure. Your feelings of incompleteness are not natural. They are the fuel that powers a vast economic engine, and your insecurity is their profit margin. Here's something nobody wants to talk about, a truth hidden in the deepest chambers of the collective psyche. You have a dark side, and society is absolutely terrified of what happens when you embrace it. Carl Jung, the brilliant explorer of the inner world, called it the shadow. The shadow is the repository of all the parts of yourself that you have been taught to hide, deny, and repress. It is your so-called negative traits, your selfishness, your aggression, your non-conformity, your independence, your primal desires, your radical refusal to be tamed, and your fierce, unapologetic desire to put yourself first. From your earliest days, you were taught that these parts of you were bad, unacceptable, and unlovable. You were conditioned to push them down into the darkness, to pretend they didn't exist, to put on a mask of agreeableness and self-sacrifice. Most men spend their entire lives running from these aspects of themselves. They are terrified of their own power, their own wildness. They get married, not always out of pure love, but partly as a performance, a way to prove to the world and to themselves that they are good guys, responsible men who can sacrifice for others. Marriage becomes a social certificate of tameness. But what if I told you that embracing your shadow is the key to becoming truly, divinely complete? The man who doesn't need marriage has done something most men never dare to do. He has ventured into the darkness of his own psyche. He has faced his shadow, not with fear, but with courage and honesty. He has acknowledged that, yes, he can be selfish. Yes, he values his independence. Yes, he is not always willing to sacrifice his own path for the sake of others, and instead of being ashamed of these qualities, he has integrated them. He has brought them out of the darkness and into the light of his conscious awareness. He has learned to wield them with wisdom and discernment. And here's what's wild. When you stop running from your shadow, you stop needing external validation. You are no longer performing goodness to prove you are worthy of love. You are just complete. You become immune to the manipulations of guilt and shame. Society cannot shame you into marriage because you are not ashamed of being single. They cannot guilt you into providing because you are not guilty about prioritizing yourself. You have become psychologically free. And there's another piece to this sacred puzzle. Jung also spoke of the anima, the unconscious feminine energy that exists within every man. This is your capacity for intuition, your connection to the realm of feeling, your creativity, your nurturing side. Society, in its rigid categorization of gender, has taught men to disown this part of themselves. It has told you that to be emotional is to be weak, that to be intuitive is to be irrational. So what do most men do? They project this disowned part of themselves onto women. They seek a woman who can be their emotional center, their intuitive guide, their source of nurturing. This is the unconscious root of the phrase, "she completes me." You are literally seeking a woman to embody the part of yourself you have refused to develop. But when you do the inner work, when you integrate your anima yourself, you become psychologically whole. You don't need a woman to access your emotional side because you have cultivated your own emotional intelligence. You don't need her to be your intuitive guide because you have learned to trust your own inner voice. You become a man who is both strong and sensitive, logical and intuitive, powerful and nurturing. This is what Nietzsche meant by amor fati, a love of one's fate. You accept your complete nature, the light and the shadow, the masculine and the feminine, including the parts society told you were wrong. And when you do this, something incredible happens. You become immune to manipulation. Picture two types of men, two archetypes of the masculine soul. The first is the tamed man. He is structured, predictable, safe. He follows the rules. He has a mortgage, a wife, a 5-year plan. His life path has been laid out for him by the expectations of society. Nietzsche would have called this the Apollonian impulse, the drive for order, reason, and control. Then there is the wild man. He is unpredictable, creative, free. He can change cities on a whim, pivot careers, take monumental risks based on a gut feeling. He embodies what Nietzsche called the Dionysian spirit, the force of chaos, passion, and authentic, untamed expression. Now, guess which one society prefers? Guess which one the system is designed to promote and reward? Marriage, in its traditional societal function, is a powerful tool designed to turn Dionysian men into Apollonian ones. It channels your wild, creative energy into socially acceptable forms. Your untamed passion gets funneled into a career to pay the bills. Your creativity gets channeled into providing for your family. Your independence gets transformed into responsibility. But what happens to the man who refuses this transformation? He keeps his edge. He stays dangerous. Not violently dangerous, but unpredictably free. And that is a threat to a system that relies on predictability. He has integrated both sides of himself. He can be structured when necessary and wild when beneficial. He can be responsible when needed and rebellious when required. He is a gentleman at dinner and a warrior in business. He is nurturing with his friends and ruthless with his enemies. He is not trapped in either extreme. He is a master of both. He is a walking paradox, a harmonious blend of chaos and order. Society fears this integration because it cannot predict or control it. The married man, the tamed man, often loses access to his Dionysian nature. He becomes purely Apollonian, safe, predictable, controlled. He may gain the world, but he risks losing his soul. But the integrated bachelor, the wild man, who has found his center, has retained his wildness while developing his wisdom. This flexibility, This wholeness makes him incredibly powerful. And power that cannot be controlled is power that threatens the system. Let me ask you a question that will change everything. Who decided that marriage was necessary for a complete life? Who wrote that rule? Think about it. Really think. When you trace back the rules about what makes a successful man, where do they come from? Your parents? Society? Religion? The media? Who benefits from these rules? But what if those rules are just opinions? What if they are inherited beliefs, passed down through generations, designed to maintain a specific social and economic order? Nietzsche talked about the Übermensch, not as a superior being, but as a person who creates their own values instead of inheriting them. This is the essence of spiritual sovereignty. The man who doesn't need marriage is a living testament that this is possible. He is not rejecting marriage because it is wrong. He is rejecting the idea that it is mandatory. Do you see the profound difference? Most men evaluate marriage like this: I should get married because that's what successful men do. But the value-creating man, the sovereign man, asks, does marriage serve my authentic development and desires? Same decision, completely different framework. And this is what terrifies people. Because if you can create your own values around marriage, what other social rules are actually just suggestions? The rule that you must work one job for 40 years? The rule that you must buy a bigger house to be happy? The rule that you must sacrifice your dreams for the sake of responsibility? Jung's individuation process is about becoming who you truly are, not who society says you should be. When you complete this process, you can evaluate every life choice, including marriage, based on your authentic self rather than social programming. Imagine if every man started asking, would I choose this marriage if I had to live it over and over again, for all of eternity? That is Nietzsche's eternal recurrence test. Make choices as if you will have to repeat them infinitely. How many marriages would survive that test? How many careers? How many lives? The man who doesn't need marriage has already passed it. He has looked at his life honestly and decided, I would rather be alone than settle for less than a genuine connection. This isn't about being anti-marriage. It is about being pro-choice. And that freedom is so powerful, so attractive, so inspiring, that it makes others question their own choices. That is why he's dangerous. He is not destroying society. He is showing that alternative ways of living are possible. Here is the ultimate moment of truth. After everything you have learned, after seeing how society manipulates your choices, after understanding the difference between authentic desire and social programming, what are you going to do? The man who doesn't need marriage represents more than a personal choice. He is a living question that challenges everyone around him. Are you married because you genuinely want to be, or because society expects it? Are you seeking partnership from strength or from neediness? Are you choosing your life or living society's script? These are not comfortable questions, but they are necessary ones. The individuated man has developed Nietzsche's ideology: the courage to be yourself, the willingness to live according to authentic values rather than inherited expectations. His authenticity doesn't require you to make the same choices, but it challenges you to make conscious choices instead of unconscious ones. He shows that marriage can be chosen from strength, not weakness; wholeness, not neediness; freedom, not obligation. He is a prophet of new possibilities. He's not destroying the old world. He is revealing what the new world could look like. And that vision, that possibility of a life lived in alignment with your deepest truth, is so attractive that it makes others question everything they thought they knew about relationships, success, and what it truly means to be a man. Here is something that will change how you see yourself, forever. Real power is not about controlling others. It is about mastering yourself. Nietzsche's will to power has been completely and utterly misunderstood. It is not about domination over others. It is about becoming who you truly are. It is about expressing your authentic nature and creating your own values. The man who doesn't need marriage has discovered this power within himself. Think about it. What's stronger? needing someone to complete you, or being complete in yourself, seeking validation from others, or generating your own sense of worth. Most men try to find power through external achievement, a better job, more money, an attractive wife. But this is borrowed power. It depends on things outside your control. The individuated man has found a different kind of power, the power of self, mastery. He has faced the Jungian shadow, all the parts of himself society told him to hide, his selfishness, his independence, his refusal to conform. Instead of being ashamed of these qualities, he has integrated them. This integration creates genuine strength, not the compensatory strength of men trying to prove themselves, but the quiet confidence of someone who knows himself completely. And here is what is incredible. When you achieve this self-mastery, you can choose relationships from abundance instead of scarcity, from wholeness instead of neediness. You are not desperately seeking someone to complete you. You are whole enough to share your life with someone who enhances it. The old definitions of what it means to be a man are collapsing, and society has not provided replacements. This creates what psychologists call an identity crisis, men who don't know what they're supposed to be. But here's what's incredible. The man who doesn't need marriage has solved this crisis. He has discovered that masculinity is not about your relationships to others. It is about your relationship to yourself. Traditional masculinity defined men through external roles. But what happens when you don't want those roles? What happens when you don't need to be a provider to feel valuable, a protector to feel strong? You discover something revolutionary. Your deepest identity exists independently of social position. Nietzsche called this becoming who you are, discarding inherited identities to discover your authentic nature. Jung called it individuation, integrating all aspects of yourself into a coherent whole. The man who completes this process does not need social approval to feel valuable. He defines masculinity by internal qualities: strength of character, creative expression, consciousness, authenticity, self-mastery. The question is, are you brave enough to find out who you really are? Your time is limited. Your choices are yours to make. The question is not whether you should or shouldn't marry. It's whether you're choosing from your authentic self or from society's script. The man who doesn't need marriage has already made his choice. What's yours?